Okay, so we have Matthew Briones from Majesty Outdoors. So he is the chapter leader. He's going to discuss a little bit about his organization. So I met Matthew during our candlelight vigil. He's also, he was the one who gave our opening prayer and our closing prayer, but I didn't know that this is what he did. And so when he kind of told me a little bit about what his organization does, I think it's very beneficial for you as volunteers. That way, if you do have children within that group range that they service, it's something that you can definitely do. So he's just going to talk a little bit more about it. And so if you are here, as I mentioned, I'll go ahead and I'll input your training. If you're watching this pre-recorded, then you can always just drop a comment in the comment section, or you can give me a phone call, or you can always email me and let me know that you have watched it. But I'm going to go ahead and let Matthew take over.
Thank you, Jaylene. Just want to say good afternoon, everybody. I want to thank you all for your time here and allowing us to explain a little bit about our organization and who we are and what we do. Before I get started, though, I do have I believe it's a 1.5-minute video that I'm going to attempt to share. If the volume doesn't work, it's just a little bit of faint music. So let's see if we can get this video going, and then I will show you a little bit more. Let's see. I haven't used Zoom in a long time, so hopefully this second. Okay. Okay, let's see if this works. No, I might have some issues with this laptop. I just got a new Mac, so I'm still figuring out how to use it. So it wants me to go into the settings and all this stuff. But in the meantime, I'll send the link to the video and as well as some flyers and what we do. So the organization that I'm with is Majesty Outdoors. We are a nonprofit faith-based organization in the community of Atlas, Corpus, Robstown. We are fairly new. Majesty Outdoors was founded and started by Bill Blodgett in 2009. It originally started off as a TV show for fatherless youth. And what they did is they would take about 3 or 4 kids growing up without a father figure in the home, and they would take them on these hunting and fishing trips. And the founder realized after a few months that he wanted to make a bigger impact in the community. So the idea was, how do we do that? So they transitioned from being a TV show to now starting these community models where there's gatherings in different communities where, other than being a TV show, it now transformed into a free program for the communities. So right now we have Atlas, which is the one that I run. I'm the Atlas chapter leader. There's one in Robstown, Corpus Westside, Corpus Flower Bluff, Cunningham Middle School in Corpus. It's an after-school program. And in the fall, there'll be Driscoll Middle School, as well as Portland. And then in the future, we're looking at Victoria next. So the way the Majesty Outdoors is we have 2 programs that we offer for free. Our first program is our Tide Changers program for boys and girls, 8 through 18, growing up in a home without a father figure, growing up in a broken home. And what we do is we offer mentorship to them. So we have our weekly meetings where it's normally on Tuesday nights. Everybody tries to follow the same flow. So what we do is we provide them with a meal. We feed them every single week. This is followed by an outdoor lesson, probably for about 45 minutes to 50 minutes, depending on what the series is. Hunting, fishing, kayaking, even a sport. We're fixing to start golf. And so what we do is we physically feed them, and then we emotionally feed them with this sport, this new introduction of something they've never done before. And then we spend a little bit of time to just talk about life a little bit and what's kind of going on in their lives. Try to help them in some of the challenges, whether something's going on at home or at school. So we do have our small group meetings after our outdoor lesson, kind of just to wind it down and wrap it up. And that's what a basic meeting looks like. So right now in Atlas, we have about, if we had 100% attendance, we got about 23 kids on the roster. We're averaging about 15. And the way our programs work is also a volunteer-based program. So we do have our volunteers, our wonderful volunteers that help us out to get this program going because I cannot mentor 20 some kids by myself. So we do have an amazing team. We do try to keep it as safe as possible, though. We are mandatory reporters of anything we see. Our volunteers are background checked. They have gone through about 8 hours of training. To become a one-to-one mentor, they have to complete an additional 1 hour of training. So you go from volunteers to one-to-one mentors. Um, sorry, got distracted here. Okay. So yeah, right now we have about 8 volunteers, male and female, that help us run this program. So that's pretty much our Tide Changers program. And it's not just the classroom setting that we do, because right now we're meeting at the Memorial Club, the Memorial School, which is now the Boys and Girls Club in Alice, Texas, 900 West 3rd Street. But we do our series with them. So we had just finished our fishing series. So while we're in the classroom equipping them and learning these skills, at the end of the series, we try to have our outings with them. So we're learning as much as possible hands-on about the skill, about the sport, and then we actually take them out on an outing. So for example, the past 6 weeks, we're learning about fishing. Everything you can have on as possible is hands-on, from learning how to tie the hook, the bait, learning how to cast a rod, cast the net, types of fish. We even had a lesson on how to cook the fish in class. We had a cooking lesson. And then last Tuesday, we had our fishing trip at Lake Finley. And we caught a couple of fish. So starting tomorrow for the next 4 weeks, we'll be on golf. So, and that's pretty much our Tide Changers program, just mentoring, being there in the kid's life, making sure that our volunteers are committed because we start building this relationship. And we have an acrostic for our mentors that of the standard of how we are. So mentor is make time, encourage, nurture, trust, outreach, and relationship. So the part about outreach is not only do we have our outings and our in-class our in-class time, but we also quarterly like to have try to have an outreach in the community. So we try to teach these kids about also giving back to the community. So our last outreach was probably in February. So what we did was, the students made Valentine's Day cards. We gathered a bunch of roses, and then we had a trip to the Premier Nursing Home where they allowed us to visit. They gave us a tour. We went into each resident's room. We gave them Valentine's Day cards, roses, and that was the way for us, for them to learn to also give back to the community as well. So we're just here to change the tide. We're here to change the numbers in the community. Let me pull out the statistics of fatherlessness real quick. So a little bit more information. So 18.4 million youth are without a father figure in their home just here in America. Youth growing up without a father figure are 4 times more likely to live in poverty. They are 7 times more likely to become pregnant as a teen. There are 71% of fatherless youth are in the high school dropout area. 63% of youth are suicides are fatherless. 90% of homeless and runaways are fatherless. And 75% of youth in chemical abuse centers are fatherless as well. So our mission is to build a generation of hope by shattering the cycle of fatherlessness. Because we realize that cycles do tend to repeat. And what we want to do is to shatter that, to mentor these kids, to let them know that there is a bright future, to let them know that just because of something happened in their past doesn't mean that that has to be their future. So we're just here to help out the community, help out the kids, and not just help out the kids, but also help out the mothers, which goes to our second program that we offer for free. So with our Tide Changers program also comes our Estrellas program. Our Estrellas program is for single mothers the way this started was we wanted to not only start impacting kids, but also like what happens with the mothers that are bringing these kids. So there's a program called Estrellas for the single mothers, and we have about 11 at our chapter in Alice. I know the other numbers from the other or chapters are big as well. Um, but what they do is they have their workshops. They talk about goals, finances, relationships, um, I mean, anything else that goes on to what they need and what they need help with. I'm not in that class, so I do know that they it is improving, it is helping them, and I do see a lot of change in the moms that are coming with their kids. So there is something for the moms as well. Right now, we don't have anything for the dads, and so sometimes I get questions with the dads like, "Well, it's just me and my kid. Uh, what can we do about that?" And I always tell them, well, hey, we'd love to have you and your kid come and join our program. If you would like to volunteer with us, and you can also learn these skills as we're going, because we're about family. So that's what we try to do. Um, what else? What else?
So I have a question.
Yes.
So for like for our volunteers, right? So they
Hmm.
have you have the tie changer, right? So which is for youth between 8 and 18, and then
Yes.
you have the Estrellas program for the moms.
Yes.
Um, Now obviously because sometimes our kids are placed somewhere else, right? They're not placed with mom. I mean, would mom still be able to attend um the Estrella program even though like the child's not going at the same time? Or let's just say we need just maybe mom needs a little bit more resources and
Mhm.
maybe she has little kids that are under the age of 8. I mean, are they still allowed
Yeah,
to?
so that is the challenge right now that we're having. And so the next program that's currently being worked on and developed is our puddle jumpers, which is going to be from 4 to 7. That's currently in development. It's going to have its own curriculum, its own leaders and mentors. We do have space for it. It hasn't happened yet. So, and then there's some mothers with kids under 4, and it's like, well, what do we have? What do we do about that? And so my goal is to make sure that the parents that go are as comfortable as possible. So we do have 6 classrooms. We're only utilizing 3 of them. We do have our upstairs classroom at the end. We do take donations for toys and stuff to keep the kids entertained, because we do have a few toddlers that are in there, because we're just trying to make it work for the mothers, as well as the room that's right next to them with the door open. We're trying to make that kind of like an area for the younger ones to kind of just play, run, have some toys in there, keep the doors locked, make sure it's safe. But right now, the Puddle Jumpers program is in development. But as far as toddlers, right now we don't have anything. So I do tell the moms, like, I know it's a little bit hard, but we do have some stuff in there to keep them entertained. But we do have some mothers that, we have some 1-year-olds, some 3-year-olds, and I mean, they enjoy it so far. So
But the moms are like, let's just say like our moms, right? They don't their children are not with them, but are they still allowed to go even though they don't have the kids the same day? Like, because I don't, do y'all do the program on the same day? I'm just wondering if, especially because I don't know how it would work, especially like visitation and stuff like that. I don't know if whether or not we would be able to have mom and child there. I mean, I know they would be separate. I just don't
yeah.
know as far as our guidelines. So I was wondering if mom is still able to be part of the program, even though her child wouldn't be necessarily attending the Tide Changers program.
So yes, if a mother falls into the category of single mother, they are allowed to attend, and we are here to help them in any way. But right now our programs are Tuesday nights, 8 to
Yes.
6 to
And
8.
that's for both of them, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then I have a question. So you cover Alice, and so where is the next closest one to Alice?
The next closest one would be Robstown, and they
Robstown.
meet at
Okay.
the Solomon Ortiz middle school. Um, it used to be a school, but it's a building that's being utilized. So
Okay.
it's ran by Leroy Espinosa. But yeah, Robstown would be the next closest one to Alice. Other than that, it's Corpus.
Okay. And then these, I mean, if our children were to, right, let's just say we have somebody that's like 12 years old and he
Mhm.
wants to kind of continue, even after maybe being back with mom or dad or aunt, uncle, whoever they're with, I mean, they can stay in this program up until the age of 18, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
So what we're hoping to do is, if we had a student for a couple of years and they've already hitting the age of 18, every year a senior from each chapter qualifies for a $20,000 scholarship that they can use to their um college of choice, whether it's university, community, or trade school. A senior will be eligible, through filling out the application for a $20,000 scholarship. Now, what we hope through this mentoring is, we do want to send them off into, go to college, have a great life, but it's like, if you also want to stay in the program, we would hope that you would now transition to helping us out with the volunteers and the mentors.
That's awesome. So if a child is and you're saying like a senior in high school,
Yeah.
they are allowed to, so let's just say you have a total of like 30 kids that are seniors. One of those 30 kids is going to get the $20,000 scholarship.
Yeah, it's one kid from every chapter will
Oh,
be
one
eligible.
kid from every chapter. So
Yeah,
it's
from every
not
chapter.
just, oh, that's awesome. I did
Yeah,
not
so like
know
one from
that.
Alice, one from Robstown, one from Corpus. So
That is
uh,
awesome.
I don't know how they select it. If it was me,
Yeah.
I'd get them all.
Right. You're like, if I could, I would. But that's awesome
um,
though. I did not know that. That's
yeah,
definitely
right now,
something.
right now, none of the chapters have seniors, so it's like we do
Oh,
have some sophomores though, so we're hoping that they can stick around and
right.
we can help them out and get them to get the scholarship and
Yeah, and
support
then I
them.
just have a question. I mean, they don't necessarily have to, do they have to use it at a university? I mean, are they like if they wanted to
No,
do
they,
trade
they can use it
school?
at a trade school.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's to any college, trade school, community college, somewhere in one of those categories.
That is awesome.
Yeah, and
If, excuse,
other stuff that we do for free. I'm sorry, does somebody have a question?
oh, I was just going to say, if they stay on, that's wonderful work for them to put on their resume that they volunteered and did community service. So if they stay on after they graduate, or even if they're helping when they're seniors,
Mhm.
that really helps with them in terms of getting other scholarships.
Oh yeah, we tell some of the young kids that are thinking about it, like, hey, this is volunteer work. It's meaningful volunteer work. And even some of the kids, because we do have some outreaches that we do. It's they're giving back. I'm like, hey, just you have references now. You're getting experience with giving back to the community. Because not only have we paid a visit to the residents, but on Veterans Day we went and we cleaned the cemetery and we put some flags on some of the grave sites there. But the outings also, when we're out of the classroom, we do have quarterly outings, sometimes a little bit more. So some of the stuff that we've done is camping trips, hunting trips, fishing trips, uh, hiking trips, like a Lake Finley. What we have coming up. And then a lot of stuff is there's a lot of opportunities that have opened up for trips that we can take them. Like this past year, like the ice race was like, hey, we want to sponsor Child Changers, bring all the parents and mothers. So I think it was, I don't know, it was in March. We had this big trip to the ice race games and like everybody went. There's like 60 people. The movie The Long Game, it's a golf movie. That's kind of what inspired the golf to come up. Eva Longoria had sponsored they rented out the theater in Kalalan for us to go watch the premiere of The Long Game. So we took like all the kids over there to go watch it. And I was like, we got to do golf. So we're fixing to start golf. So there's always these trips and opportunities for fun that comes up. In July, we have our aquarium trip. So we're taking everybody to the aquarium. So let's see where we're at right now. We have we're starting golf. In the summer, we'll have our multi-chapter trip. That's where all the chapters and staff and a couple of volunteers will come together for um a 3-day event at Thumbtack Ranch. So there's going to be kayaking, fishing, we have the gun range, compass, pickleball, food, sleeping arrangements. It's all comfortable and provided. So we'll be offering that in June. It's June 7, 8, 9. And that's when all the locations come together. It's our summer big event that we have.
And
And
that's
after
also
that,
free?
I'm sorry?
And that's also free?
Yes, we don't charge anybody for anything. And other than that, I mean, the summer, we're looking at a huge archery series coming up, which is like 7, 8 weeks. So that's probably going to stretch the rest of the summers. After golf, that'll be archery.
And so if one of our volunteers were to say, hey, I think, right, and this is just, I mean, this is just in general. I mean, even, with some of the volunteers that we have right now, if they're within that age 8 to 18, I mean, why not? I mean, because this is definitely something that they could do and they could go every Tuesday, and that can be when they have their outing and they're able to kind of talk. Now, I have a question, whether or not do they have to like participate every single Tuesday, or is it just whenever they're able to?
Well,
Um,
we have levels that some people tend to volunteer. We do have our some that are considered mentors that have done like the longest trainings, who are one-to-ones that have said, I want to do this full time. And then we have some volunteers that are like, I can only do this once a month, twice a month with my schedule, and that's fine. And we've had some volunteers that say I could only help out at special events, and that's fine as well. We're not asking anybody to like, we just ask that you let us know.
right.
I'd be like, hey, so and so said they were gonna be here. And they're not. I mean, we're very flexible. Like I can only help out when you guys do like trips, and that's fine.
Yeah.
I could
And then
only go to serve food and then I have to leave.
right, real quick, just gonna go help out as much as I can.
Yeah.
And so what is the process if our volunteers did want to get their children into the program? What are the steps?
So for the children, okay. So we have an application that they have to fill out because we do have a record, everything on our end. And it just asks for their basic information: name, age, birthday, address, number, allergies. And then there is this evaluation that I guess the parents kind of take an educated guess on their kids of where they're at socially, academically, physically. And it's a scale of 1 through 5 that only we see, because what we want to do is get those numbers up socially, academically, physically. So it's kind of like a little assessment. That way, through the mentoring process, when we see after a few months, like, hey, so and so's been coming, and I noticed that they're being more social, so we know that this program is working, or their grades are improving because I'm asking them about their grades. I'm seeing if they need help, and that's where our one-to-one mentors come into play. So our one-to-one mentors are mentors that go beyond our weekly meetings. This is, house visits if needed, school visits, going to programs, going to sport events, taking them to do something. This is now outside of the classroom, and this is now where they've received additional training.
And then, sorry.
No, go ahead.
So
Questions?
once our volunteers reach out and they do, I would probably have to get with Brenda to kind of see how the application works, if that's the department that would have to do that, or foster parents that would complete that. So then they do, the application, and then are they automatically invited, or do you have to wait from like the okay from y'all to say yeah, or are they allowed to start attending?
Normally we get the okay right away. So the way that they ask us to do this is because we're always doing like community setups, like, kind of promoting the program. We'll get kids and mothers that are visitors, and we'll have them like sign in with their basic information. And it's
Okay.
not till they come back the second time where we ask for them to fill out the application. Because before, like, everybody's filling out applications and then they wouldn't come back. So it's like, hey, if they come back, now we can have a little bit of a deeper talk. Like, do you want to be a part of this? Do you want to be a part of the program?
Right.
And that's when we get like the deeper info.
And so Shauna asked, so would our CASA volunteers be able to bring the kids, right? So like if it's not foster parents doing it, I mean, because our volunteers are supposed to meet with the children at least once a month. At least they have to do it at least once a month. And so we usually require 50% inside the home and then like 50% outside the home. So, I mean, is that something y'all would be comfortable with like our CASA volunteer taking that child, or do you think that would be something that you would
I
have to
I
just,
think this would be a great opportunity to partner up because the Casa child would be is I assume just a little bit more comfortable with the person that they're with. Am I correct?
yeah.
This would be a good opportunity to partner with you all, when you're bringing now if you bring the child, is the your all's volunteers, would they stay or is it just like a drop
Yeah,
off or
no, yeah. So if this is what they're utilizing their visit, so if they're going, this is okay, I'm gonna meet with my child, this is gonna be my one visit. I'm
Mhm.
gonna do it, I want to do it outside the home because we encourage that so much.
Yeah,
They are responsible for them when they take them outside of the foster home or
yeah.
wherever they're placed at.
And
So
these are
they
your
would not,
volunteers, correct?
the what?
And these are the Casa volunteers
Yes,
who
yeah.
have been background checked and
Yep.
trained and are
Yeah. No,
top
yeah. So yeah,
notch.
we do
See,
like three
that's how
different
we run.
backgrounds.
So
Yeah.
I I'm
Okay.
guessing, hey, well, they must have everybody good and ready to go. So
Yeah. Because that was one of the things that I definitely did. I want to start, especially get with, our supervisors and with Brenda to say, hey, like we really should start utilizing y'all more.
mhm,
Um, I mean, there are some kids, a little bit older, and some that are boys that don't necessarily open up maybe, so kind of doing an activity, especially with their CASA volunteer with other kids, with other people that might allow them to kind of start opening up and being a little bit more. So I definitely think that your program would be a great resource for our volunteers to be able to recommend that that's something that they can do.
yeah, and I think you all would help us out as much as we would help you all out because we're all always looking for extra hands, and extra
Yeah.
set of eyeballs because
Yeah.
one, because we go outside quite a bit because we have a fenced in courtyard that we utilize for outdoor lessons. Even though we're in the classroom, it's always like a let's take this outside and make this as hands-on as possible. So we're
Mhm.
talking about fishing, if we're talking about camping or survival. We have our classroom, but our space is the whole location. So we have this fenced in courtyard area that's like,
Yeah.
even though we're not at the ranch or we're not at the lake, like you're gonna get the full on experience when you're there. And I tell the kids like we've had some make a fire lessons and we've made some fires. Like it's a real deal. We
Yeah.
had a cooking lesson. We filleted some fish. We had some air fryers. Like it's as live as possible without being at the ranch or at the lake. But that
Yeah.
stuff does come.
Awesome. Does anybody have any questions? I was like, I know we only have Adolfo, Lucy, and Shauna in here. I'm sure once the volunteers see the training, they might reach out, but I just didn't know if y'all had any questions to ask Matthew.
I was just gonna say, when I asked about whether or not volunteers could bring their CASA kids, I wasn't thinking I would drop them off there, but engage and help my own CASA child learn whatever skill or, kind of just be part of that. So the fact that you extended the invitation for us to kind of be extra eyes and ears and
Yeah.
kind of be out there, that's wonderful. I appreciate that.
Yeah. I mean, I think organizations with the same mission, working together because we would love to help your kids, but we do need a little bit of help too. We're always looking for our volunteers, and our volunteers are all background checked. They've some of them have done 8 hours of training, some of them have done 10 hours of training. They've done child abuse awareness training. So we do to keep our volunteers real up to date, and ready to go as well.
So, and then what time do y'all meet on what time? I didn't catch it on Tuesdays.
We are Tuesday. I wonder if I can put the flyer in the chat because I was not able to share my screen. Every Tuesday from 6 to 8. It's a evening. The first 20 minutes is normally dinner time. We feed everybody, volunteers, parents. So it gets a little challenging, but we do feed everybody. And I make sure everybody's.
And then you said that was at the 900 West 3rd Street, correct?
That is correct. Let me see. I might be able to upload in here. Okay, this is not, yeah, I just uploaded a flyer, and I'm going to upload our Alice flyer. I don't know if y'all were able to see that.
Yes, I see it.
Yeah, and everything we do is for free. We don't charge parents, we don't charge kids. When we have our outings, when we have our trips, when we go anywhere. We are a nonprofit organization to benefit the community. And we are fixing here in Alice to hit our 1 year anniversary.
Oh, that is awesome. Are y'all doing like an event or anything?
Well, I'm not too sure yet. It's really, everybody's gonna. That's the question people ask me. Are we gonna do anything? I'm like, I'm probably put something together. You know, we celebrate everything. Oh,
Yeah.
one of the things that I personally like to do with mothers and kids, I celebrate everybody's birthday.
Okay.
We don't let any birthdays
Go
with
by.
that.
Yeah,
So
that's one of the things that we kind of teach in there's like a scenario in training where we talk about a girl that's kind of like, she's not even in a foster place. I think she's like in a residential placement, and it talks about like her not really being able to celebrate her birthday, and
yeah.
of how like what our Casa Volunteer could do to make sure that they are celebrated. So that'd be something that would be really nice. Like if we knew around the time what birthday, and we knew that maybe they didn't have family or parents weren't participating in anything like that. It's
Hmm.
definitely something. But I did get both of the things that you uploaded. So I'll make sure that I also share this in the recap email.
Yeah.
Uh, so that way our volunteers do have it. And then do you have like a work cell phone number, or can I give them the number that I have?
Yes, the number you have is my work
Okay,
cell.
awesome. All right, I'll go ahead and I'll make sure I include that in the email. But unless anybody else has any other questions. No.
Yeah. We do have a, website as well. It's
Right.
just majesty.outdoors.org. And if anybody has Facebooks, feel free to check out the Facebooks, the Alice page, just to see everything that we've done with the kids. I mean, we try to keep it up to date as possible. But if nobody has any questions, I do want to thank you all for your time as well.
Yes, of course. Thank you so much, Matthew, for agreeing to talk with our volunteers. I'm sure, like I said, I might have other questions, but I definitely do want to kind of brainstorm with Brenda as well as our supervisors, just to say, hey, like if our volunteers, if you're having kind of trouble, you kind of wanting something to do with your child, just definitely take advantage of your program.
Yeah, for sure.
Alrighty. Well, thank you all so much for joining us. And Matthew, thank you so much again. You have a good rest of your day.
Thank you. Y'all too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.